Yeah.
The uniform was a present from the families of the 1st Battalion of the Parachute Regiment. The Prince of Wales is Colonel-in-Chief. 2 regular-size uniforms were cut down to size for the 2 young princes. The berets were soaked and placed over pudding basins to shrink them to fit. Prince William is an...
It was the confession made under a Grecian sun, a moment of stark clarity amidst what should have been a peaceful summer respite. Just 10 days before her life was tragically cut short in a Paris tunnel, Princess Diana sat with her close confidant, Rosa Monckton, and unburdened herself of a weight she could no longer carry. The woman celebrated the world over as the people's princess was, in that intimate moment, simply a mother haunted by a single, monumental mistake. She told me she regretted doing it because of the harm she thought it had done to her boys, Monckton would later reveal. The "it" needed no explanation. It was the BBC Panorama interview from November 1995, a televised event that captivated 200 million viewers and shattered the remaining walls of her private life. But for Diana, the global reaction was secondary. Her gaze was turned inward to the halls of Kensington Palace and the corridors of Eton College, fixed firmly on her sons, William and Harry. This was not a regret born of political misstep or public relations fallout. This was the raw, aching regret of a parent who believed she had failed to protect her children from the very storm she had, in part, summoned. The harm was not an abstract concept. For Prince William, then 15, the broadcast was a deeply personal trauma. Royal biographer Robert Lacey, in his book Battle of Brothers, paints a devastating picture of its immediate aftermath. Before the 58 minutes ended, William was weeping, Lacey writes. The image of the future king, vulnerable and heartbroken, is sharpened by the account of his housemaster at Eton, Dr. Andrew Gailey, who found the young prince slumped on the sofa, his eyes red with tears, in the midst of what was described as a mini breakdown. What had he seen? He saw his mother, on global television, speaking with unprecedented candor about the disintegration of his parents' marriage. He heard her speak of his father's infidelity with Camilla Parker Bowles, her own battles with bulimia, and her profound isolation within the royal family. For a teenager already navigating an impossible existence, it was a brutal, public airing of his most private family pains. The interview was Diana's truth, but for William and Harry, it was their lives being dissected for the world. In the years since, the shadow over that Panorama interview has only grown longer and darker. What Diana came to see as a personal error in judgment is now understood by the world as the product of a malicious and calculated deception. The 2021 inquiry led by Lord Dyson exposed the extent of journalist Martin Bashir's mendacity, the forged bank statements, and the web of lies he spun to gain Diana's trust and secure the sit-down. He painted a picture of a palace riddled with conspiracies against her, making himself appear as her only true ally. In doing so, he isolated her. She was frail, and that made her susceptible to Bashir, Rosa Monckton explained, adding the most cruel twist of the manipulation. He told her she couldn't talk about it. She cut people out because of that. The cruelest cut of all was the one she never intended. Isolated by Bashir's lies, she made the decision to speak, believing it was her only path to freedom. Yet that very act of speaking drove a wedge between her and the 2 people who mattered most. Her regret, confessed on that Greek holiday, is the painful dawning of this reality. It is the realization that in her quest to break free from the gilded cage, she had, however unintentionally, exposed her sons to the glare of a harsher one. The confession to Monckton 10 days before her death is therefore more than a piece of royal trivia. It is the final, poignant piece of the panorama puzzle. It completes a story of profound tragedy, not just of a life lost, but of a mother's love clashing with a woman's desperation, and of a truth weaponized by a manipulator that left lasting scars on the hearts of her boys. It is the story of Diana, the people's princess, whose greatest regret was not a matter of state, but a matter of the heart.